Hello everyone and welcome to the DevCast, your weekly Roblox podcast for all Roblox-related content and personal up-close interviews and conversations with some of your favorite Roblox creators. Today we're here with AlvinBlox, a Roblox developer known for his tutorials in scripting and various other development skills. Please welcome AlvinBlox. Whoa!
Hi everyone, thanks for having me on, lads. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So we were actually in a conversation about why you actually changed your Roblox character. You said that you used to have a Headless Horseman, and then you talked about how much money it actually. I mean, I've never had a headless before, so I mean I've never actually earned that money to actually buy one before, and it's every Halloween, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, the Headless Horseman's always been a personal goal of mine. I remember the Halloween's release every year when it had come round, and you're short of the Robux to buy it. And it was a couple of years ago I managed to get it, and I was kind of thinking, should I get it, or is it just a complete waste of money? And I kind of wasted all my Robux on it. So I felt like I had to use it all the time, but just in recent months I've just been a bit bored of it, and I've kind of wanted to have a Roblox face back. So there we go. And it's especially difficult as well when you want to get like a profile picture done, or you want to get a Roblox toy and you haven't got a head. So
yeah, that's true.
I'm kind of maybe
What? Wait, are
lining myself up there for,
actually
a toy, but no.
Wait.
No, I wish, but
Working in progress.
Well, I think that'd be awesome, an AlvinBlox toy. But I actually seen what they do if you do have a headless. What they do is they make your head transparent. They give you like a little transparent head. So
they
I think
do, yeah. I
quite
mean,
cool.
it's a little bit ghost-like, but there's ways around it. But I'm rocking the head look at the minute, not the headless.
No, I always prefer a character with actual facial expression. I do think that headless is a bit. It's quite blank. Most of the time it's usually just like a giant flex thing. So, but you know what? I just
100%.
Yeah, Unix doesn't have a very.
100%.
I mean, for a long time,
honest,
I don't think you had a very.
I've been in the same boat as Alvin. For a while. You do like it as a flex.
Yeah, just as a flex.
Definitely in like a flex thing. But then put in the big picture.
It's not.
I think
I've got a lot I've got a lot of limited faces as well, and I can't wear them if I have my headless on. So
yeah, that leaves you.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
In the dark.
Okay, well, actually, let's actually just get into the show, shall we? Let's actually start off with a question that I actually wanted to ask you, and I think you've answered this question many times before. But I actually wanted to ask you, and I just wanted to ask this question just to get a general basis for everyone to understand, because, of course, not everyone's going to know AlvinBlox, of course, and this is just to introduce you to everyone else who just doesn't know. But what actually started you with scripting and YouTube? What started off this whole AlvinBlox, as a whole? What started you in your journey of scripting and then towards, shifting towards YouTube?
great question. So it all starts back in 2011. I signed up for Roblox.
Yeah.
For the first couple of years, I'm just a player. I've never really thought about becoming a developer. You make your couple of hobbies in Roblox Studio and just check it out, but you never really, thought that development or scripting would be a path to take me into the future. Obviously, there's no such thing as DevX back then or anything. And then I'm just making games for fun around 2013, around 2 years in. I mean, I spent a lot of time in personal servers, just, making hobbies and stuff. But yeah, around 2013, I started to get into just like making games and scripting, just like a hobby. And then in 2015, I set up my channel. Originally, it was just going to be for like gaming videos and like little machinima type videos. But I decided to do a scripting tutorial for a shop GUI, and just to help me learn how to script, because I thought, if I do a video, I'll be able to come back to it later on.
Yeah.
If I forget how to do something, and I might be able to teach others, because if you teach others, then there's a better chance of you increasing your knowledge and you becoming better at something. So, I mean, it's kind of weird in that I was still learning how to script, and yet I was putting out tutorials, and I think a lot of people use that to their advantage as well in being able to learn how to script by helping others. And it kind of just snowballed from there. I mean, I didn't create the channel thinking, let's start making tutorials. There's a gap in the market here, and we're
Yeah.
going to get
Yeah.
over 100K subs.
Yeah.
It was just purely to help myself get better at learning to script, and I just left that video, and it got a couple hundred views. Some people asked, "Can you do a video on how to make an inventory GUI and
Yeah.
a loading screen?" And I'm like, well, even I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So, I have to go away, learn how to do it, and then I made a couple more videos. And around 2016, around a year later, is when I got 1,000 subscribers, and you're thinking, maybe, I could start doing some more videos here. And I've been doing it for over 6 years now, and
Whoa.
I've just kept on going year after year.
Wow.
There's always new tutorials to do, and then you expand into beginner tutorials, and it just snowballs. You get
Yeah.
loads more
Yeah.
people coming in each year wanting to learn
Yeah.
how to script.
Yeah.
And, as Roblox gets more widely known, as it becomes more popular, there's always going to be a fraction of those players who want to learn how to make their own games,
Yeah.
who land on my channel and become the developers of tomorrow. So, yeah, that's a general insight into
Oh.
how it all started.
Well, I think that's so interesting because, I didn't actually know that YouTube was a part of the journey this whole time, I guess I find it fascinating how you incorporated YouTube and development in tandem together, and, because I know a lot of developers just, go off in a different direction, but you somehow managed to get a balance of both. Um, how was it like with that? Did you not, did you maybe also have to struggle because let's just say you swerved off into different things other than YouTube, maybe a different project, and then you had to maybe put YouTube on hold? I'm sure you must have had a battle with that at some point, I would assume.
Absolutely, and it becomes more of a struggle as you become more proficient in scripting, and you actually.
Yeah.
Sorry, my phone just started playing some music. Can we cut that bit out?
No, that's all right. That's fine.
All right. Yeah. So I've lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you become more proficient in development, and you're actually starting to work on proper projects,
Yeah.
not just small projects to help you learn. It's definitely hard to balance making videos and keeping up work on your game, because you get people in the comments section saying, "Why haven't you made a game? You've got this
Yeah.
great channel and you're obviously a great scripter, but where are your
Yeah.
games?" And I'm like, well, I've been devoting my time to creating all these tutorials. So it's definitely, it's something you've got to balance. And with my current game that I'm working on, I've been working on it for 3 years. But that's because it's been a learning experience for me. There's been things that I haven't done before, like complex data store systems, or
Yeah.
implementing a
Yeah.
tutorial to teach people how to play. I've never done that sort of thing. So and obviously, if I was to do that game again from scratch, if I started now, I'd probably have it done in 6 months rather than 3 years.
Yeah.
But I think if I hadn't have had my YouTube channel on the side, I probably would have, instead of it being 3 years, maybe we're looking at just a year or maybe a year and a half, because I wouldn't have had to be stopping all the time and going on to
Yeah.
back to my channel. So it's a hard thing to balance, and I think
Mm.
you have to have a good mentality, because
Yeah.
most developers, if you get stuck on something, say you have a bug and you're just like, I'm just gonna hit a brick wall. I'm gonna just go away from this for a bit of time
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
go on to something else. With me, it's like, oh, I've hit a bug. I've hit a problem. I'm gonna go from this into my channel because I've got stuff to do on my channel. I've got comments to answer. I've got videos to plan. Because it's not just videos. You can't just turn on the camera or the recorder and start recording. You've got to, if you're doing a series, for example, you've got to plan that out. You've got to,
Yeah.
create. If I'm doing, say, for example, how to make a tower defense game, I'm not just going to turn on the camera and start on a blank base plate, not
Yeah.
knowing what I'm
Yeah.
doing. I'm going to
Yeah.
spend the weeks before that planning
Planning that
out,
ahead. Yeah.
how it's going to work. I'm going to create the actual project. I'm going to make sure there's got no bugs or anything,
Yeah.
because I want them to last for a couple of years. I don't want to have to come back to this in 6 months and have to do it again because there's some game-breaking bug that's, or some Roblox updates. You've got to future-proof things to an extent.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of planning that goes into it. So it's kind of like you're balancing not only recording and editing, but also the creation of these projects behind the scenes, as well as your game. So you've got to have a lot of determination to it. I think a lot of people, they see my channel and my tutorials, and they think, oh, I could do that. I could just turn on the camera and teach people how to make a couple of Roblox games. But if you do that, then you get people saying, oh, there's a bug. Oh, and you realize, oh yeah, I should have properly bug tested this, because now I've got a tutorial series that people aren't going to enjoy, because I've said things in the video and now they don't apply anymore because there's been a Roblox update or something. So there's definitely a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that go unnoticed, and you've definitely got to balance it.
I've actually noticed you actually made a game. I think it was Hotel Tycoon Simulator. I think that was the name of it, or was it just Hotel Simulator? I can't remember.
Yeah, so Hotel Tycoon, that's my current project that I've been working on for 3 years. It's kind of like my first proper big game.
Whoa!
I know.
Wow.
But I've learned a lot from that. I said to myself through the development process, I was like, even if this game doesn't work out, if it fails, I've learned a lot that I can take into my next project. I've learned a lot more than I would have learned if I was just making small projects here and there.
Yeah.
So even if it was to fail, I wouldn't be upset. And it sounds weird because I've put so much into this game, but I've learned so many things to take into my next game. But I think it will be a success. It's not out yet. It's in
Fingers
beta
crossed,
testing,
everyone.
but it'll be out in a couple of months. And I know I've said that a couple of times, but it's definitely nearing completion, and I'm happy with it. So watch this space.
Watch this space, everyone. Yeah, I think we all do that. When it comes to development, I think it really is a pain. We just say, well, a lot of people just ask you the question, and it's always the most painful question. It's like, when are you going to finish your game? And you always tell everyone about this game, and they say, when are you going to finish it? And then you're like,
Absolutely. I mean, it's like, you get comments saying, when are you going to make a game? When are you going to make a game with all this scripting knowledge? And I say, I'm making one, and you spend time working on the game, and then they're saying, when are you going to make another tutorial? I want to learn how to script.
Yeah.
So,
I know.
It's a very hard balancing act.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one or the other.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, other than that, I actually also want to ask you another specific question, which I think a lot of people have been very excited for what's going to be happening, but RDC has opened up to in-person and virtual, and I think I know you've been to RDC before. What are your thoughts on, RDC being both virtual and physical this year? And did you, I'm not sure, did you attend last year's RDC? But otherwise, what are your thoughts on, that whole thing happening, and that it's actually even happening?
Yeah, so I've been to RDC all in Europe since 2015. So London 2015, 2017 London, 2018 Amsterdam, and Viewing Party 2019, and then obviously we had a virtual one. So I know what a normal one's like and a hybrid one. Obviously we all had the hybrid one last year. I think they did well with the hybrid one.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people were thinking it was going to be really bad just because no one's there. But you still got the same content, you still got the same keynotes and breakout sessions. So I think they managed that really well. In regards to this year, I'm not going to be going, obviously, because of the travel restrictions and everything being uncertain still.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can do a proper in-person one next year. But as long as everything's all safe for the people that do go, I'm not bothered. I mean, I'm happy with another. I'm happy just to have another a virtual one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it looks like that they're not just going to say, RDC is just for everyone who comes in person this year, and you're going to be left out if you go virtual. So, no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad they pushed it back a little bit. I mean, I know a lot of people will be in school or in work or at university.
Yeah, that's true.
So a lot of people can't go due to those constraints. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it will be a good. Is it a weekend? Is it? I heard it was going to be on a Thursday to Saturday type thing, but I'm not sure. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and it's in October, and it's quite interesting because moving it all the way to October. I don't think RDC as what I've known. I don't think it's ever taken place in October before, so that's quite interesting how they're going to be planning out the whole thing. And I also believe, I think it's also a best way to keep it virtual as well, because, of course, people from, countries who are, let's just say, not as wealthy, for people who have to travel to the US to go to a physical RDC, it would cost them like an arm and a leg. For me, it would cost me an arm and a leg. It would easily cost me more than about almost 500,000 rand as like total, within my currency. But for a US currency, it's quite cheap. For Unix, it would be quite cheap. But for me, unfortunately, I would not be able to afford it.
That's the thing, with it being held in July, August every year, that's, peak summer holiday season for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's in October, traditionally flight prices and hotels are going to be a lot lower. So it does have its benefits
quirks,
as well, hosting it here. So yeah, I mean, it'll be a new style, and I'm just looking forward to see how it will go.
Yeah, I'm also
Hopefully
excited.
It'll, be a success. So
yeah,
we'll
hopefully this RDC goes well.
Touchwood.
Oh yeah, sorry, Unix. Yeah, said something.
Touchwood.
Oh, touchwood. Yeah.
Indeed, yes.
I was going to ask. There's actually a recent update. That's just recently come out. What are your thoughts on dynamic skies that have been released by Roblox? Recently. They've just come out of beta, but they've been in testing for a long time. What are your actual thoughts on that?
Yeah, I've always thought that one of the things that kind of holds Roblox back at the minute when you compare it to other engines is the sky. Like, you just look up and unless you do something yourself, in a game with coding to make your own sky or clouds, it's kind of dull just having a skybox.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things that they've had to
change for a while.
To perfect in the engine for a long time. Like, this has been coming for a long time. So to see it start to be rolled out, I think we're going to see some big increases in quality in some of the top games.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't know too much about it. I've seen images of it and photographs of what it looks like. But I haven't really delved into the details too much.
Yeah.
Obviously, with me, I'm less of a creative, artistic kind of person. But no, I can definitely get on board with that, and I'm happy that they're bringing that to the engine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was like a little. I don't know if you've played around with it, but there's like a short, small little new panel where you can actually customize things now. I think I don't know if you've actually made a video on it, but you can actually update. You can like change the RGB color of the clouds, and I think there's all sorts of other things you could do with it. I don't know what the panel is called, but it's and you can add like different I don't know, like slots of things that you can change in terms of like the elements or the composition of whatever it is. And I think you could do it with all sorts of things. I haven't messed around with it. I couldn't figure it out. So, but I think they do look visually well.
I'm looking at it now, and it looks really good. I mean, you could do all sorts. You could, code if you want to take it and use coding, you could, generate storms or all types of different weather. So for sure, it's really good.
Yeah, I think weather is going to be quite interesting in games now. Yeah, so I think that's great because there's not a lot of variety in terms of weather in games. So, but hopefully, fingers crossed that they, Roblox's rendering, picks up, and actually, manages to.
A lot of games are going to become more, because I know Roblox want to go realistic.
Yeah.
That's their objective.
There's a new realistic phase.
The whole cloud update is just going to fit in fine.
Yeah, I think it's going to look great. Yeah, and they actually upgraded the visuals as well, I think. They used to be so... well, I mean, I don't know. From the recent photos, it looks so much better from what they were introduced as. So I thought that was actually great. I thought that was beautiful. All right. I also just want to ask you, what advice would you actually give to someone? I'm pretty sure you've been asked this question as well. But, just for the sake of sharing this on our podcast, we would like to ask you, what advice would you give to someone who wants to actually start out in scripting on Roblox, on the Roblox platform?
It's another good question because I do get this a lot, but it's hard to... I mean, when you've learned how to script, you kind of forget what it was like starting out yourself.
Yeah.
And for me, it was very difficult, and I think because I was quite young as well when I first started out, and when I did start to learn, I did fail a lot, and I had to keep coming back to it every 6 months or so. I mean, I'd start reading like wiki guides and the cookbook, and I'd feel like nothing was going in. I wasn't really understanding it. It's like you're just reading it, but you're not taking anything in and learning anything. So a lot of the time I was just like, okay, let's come to this. Let's come back to this in
Yeah.
6 months maybe when I'm. So I was say I'm about 11 at the time, like 10 or 11. I'll say, oh, I'll come back to this when I'm 12. Oh, I'll come back to this when I'm
Yeah.
13.
Yeah.
You know, and I think one good bit of advice is don't try to learn everything. Like there's going to be things which you won't be able to learn just yet,
Abs-
especially if you're young. So,
yeah.
you might be able to learn
Yeah.
variables, functions, events, the basic things, but don't go thinking like you're going to be able to make a gun or a FPS game, within 6 months of
Yeah.
starting
Yeah.
learning how to script. It sure is possible, right? But, don't lay that expectation on yourself.
Yeah.
And I think what a lot of people do is they think, I want to make a Roblox game. I want to make Jailbreak 2, or I have this great idea for a game. I don't know how to do it. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, they just jump into wanting to make that game, and when they realize they can't,
They just give up.
their motivation is just totally gone, and they give up.
Yeah.
Whereas if you start out small and you don't put any pressure on yourself, and you think, sure, this might take 2 years, 3 years before I'm able to make a properly good quality game that's gonna, make me some money, or there's gonna be something that I can add onto my portfolio, so I can get hired. Maybe that's what you want to go into. Just
Yeah.
don't put that pressure on yourself. Just, start very small, and you might think, why should I start small? I want to go into these big projects, but trust me, you're gonna go into the project, you're gonna realize it's too much for you. And what about when you have a bug and you don't know how to fix it, or because you haven't got the prior knowledge, or you release the game and you think, well, if I can release the game, that's fine. We'll just hope that it gets
Yeah.
popular.
Yeah.
What about when you've managed to somehow get to the stage of releasing this game with hardly any scripting knowledge, and then someone tries it and says, "Can you add this? We want to have a new update," and you're like, "Ah, I don't know how to make this update in time because it would take me, a year to learn how to do all this." I think a lot of people they just try to rely on others, like they'll try and hire other people to do the scripting for them.
Yeah.
Even if they're trying to learn how to script, they want to get someone else just to make the game really quickly for them. But then when it comes to them actually adding features and working on parts of the game,
Yeah.
they don't really know where to go because they've kind of just jumped in too quickly. So you've kind of just got to write off a period of time and just put it down to
Yeah. Just
you're going to
learning.
use this time to learn. And a lot of people don't want to face that because it's the hard truth. And I didn't want to face it either because, you don't want to thinking, oh, I'm going to have to spend the next 6 months or year learning how to script properly. I'm not going to have any proper progress or a game. And it can be very demotivating, but you think of all the people that do want to learn how to script with you that are at the same level as you. And let's say there's 1,000 people that are currently today wanting to learn how to script
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they haven't started yet. And you think it's going to take that long to get to that stage. A lot of people aren't going to get to that stage. It's about the people that do. It's about the people that commit themselves. And there might be 10 or 20 people out of that 1,000 who do, who think, right, I'm just going to, write off the next year and I'm just going to go for this learning how to script. And maybe, the other 980 will jump into a project straight away. And within a week, maybe even a month, they'll have stopped. They will have stopped learning because it's just too much for them. But if you start small and you grow gradually, day by day, week by week, month by month, and it does seem a long road.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah. I
said
know.
6 months or a year, but you'll be surprised with how much you
Learn.
take in. It's like learning a language, right? You're not just
Yeah.
going to go to bed and
Oh.
the next day, boom, I can speak
Oh.
German or French or whatever. You've got to start small,
That's true.
with the basic stuff. You got to learn how to count. You got to learn how to say the days of the week, how to say hello. You can't just, expect
Yeah.
to go in somewhere and be able to speak fluently. So
All
you
right.
got to start on the basics, and then you can move into more advanced things, and then as you go gradually, it will start to make sense, especially if
Hmm.
you don't have that pressure on yourself.
All right. Well, okay. Well, that's great. We'll actually
To be
continue. We'll
honest,
continue this further on. We're just actually going to take we're just going to take a short break at the moment. So now's our break time. We'll see you guys all in a bit. All right. All right. And yeah, we are back. Sorry, Unix, you were meant to say something, but
I
as I
was, and I was cut
interrupted.
short.
Yes, I'm so sorry. Okay, you can continue.
No worries, thank
You were going
you.
to say something.
As Dev devs and our history is very tormented with this
Unfortunately.
subject of development and
Yeah.
games and progression and faults, problems. And as you touched on with knowledge is key for anything, which I completely agree with, and how people get other people on the team because they can't do one specific thing. And it always clashes, or sometimes it bonds, and it's all over the place.
Yeah.
Which is a very good subject. But there is, with our experience and what you've said with start with a small project, you're bang on right with that. That is ideal. The ideal thing to do for you to succeed in a quick, and the quicker you can get the game out, you then have more motivation going forward with it because you can see success quicker. So it's a beneficial all around. There is a couple of games that we have in the making, but of course we can't promise anything.
Yeah. Well, because you need, of course, Unix and
because as soon as you promise something, you've already.
Yeah, you can't always tell yourself this will happen, You always have to go with the emotion and the feelings that you have. For example, Unix and I, of course, we don't specialize in scripting. We're not special scripters. Unix, of course, is a very great modeler. He's very good at UI design, and he's got various other specialties, of course, but not scripting. For me, for example, I don't script either. But I do graphic design, I do I do environmental design, and I do building, as well as a bit of modeling. And, that's usually our specialties. And, of course, we've also had struggles, and I think we can relate to a lot of people. There are a lot of people who, of course, if as much as they want to have a grasp on scripting, they just unfortunately... it just never was in their interest. They were just never made for it. Some people have got different brains. Not scripting's not for everyone. And the way you talked about, of course, teamwork and people having to rely on scripters. Scripters out there, as I think we can all agree on this. Scripters are a very, very let's just say it's a very difficult position to find in terms of hiring someone to script a game. There are so many scripters out there, but of course, they also have their own dreams. They also have their own aspirations. They'd like to continue doing their own things. And so many scripters I know for a fact just get DMs almost every day. Or, so they're saying, oh, can you help me script my game? Or, and all that type of stuff. I'm pretty sure you maybe also had the struggle as well. And I really do think it's quite an interesting thing about how you find the right person to create the right dynamic for the right game. Let's just say you want to give advice for us, the average person who wants to formulate a development team but is looking for a scripter for a game. What advice would you have for, at least in terms of hiring a scripter?
Yeah, and I think the reason why I said previously why a lot of people will just go and find another scripter, even though that they can't script themselves. I was kind of referring to those who are, I say lazy, but I don't mean it in that way. I mean it more like in that, they'll try and learn how to script for about 5 minutes and then give up. Like they haven't properly given it a go. And for sure, scripting isn't for everyone, and I can attest to that because I'm not a builder. I'm not a 3D modeler. I'm not a UI designer because it's just not for me. I can't envisage a map and build it and detail it. As much as I've tried, I just can't do it. Whereas there'll be people listening to this who can do that in their sleep, right?
Yeah.
So it's about finding what works for you. But if you're trying to find a scripter, let's say, I think you'd want to first, and it's a bit of a catch-22 in that you want to find someone who's got experience.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
definitely.
It's very hard to find someone if you don't have that experience yourself in a different field. So I would say just try and make a good portfolio of what you're good at, right? Because if I'm a scripter, right, and I'm trying to make a game and I'm looking for a builder, in fact, this happened this morning, right? I needed a map being built for a project that I'm doing for a new tutorial. And so I could have just gone to the dev forum and found somebody and commissioned them.
Yeah.
But I know someone, right, who's a builder, and I got in touch with them about a year ago. just because they watched my tutorials actually, and I realized that they're a builder, and they were trying to learn to script, but they were actually a good builder, and they're kind of not really known in the
Yeah.
development space
Yeah.
as kind of like being one of the best builders out there. But they're still a really good builder, and you know, I would say their work is on par with someone who I might have commissioned from the dev forum, you know, for who is one of the greatest builders on the forum, right? So it's not about having the best portfolio. It's about having skills that are good enough
Yeah.
to be partnered with a scripter, right? You don't have to be the best builder. You know, the best games don't have the best scripters, the best builders, the best at everything. It's just about having a good team. So if you work together, if you work well together, because we work well together, you know, we get on really well, then you're gonna have a good partnership. So as long as you are good at what you do, and you don't have to have the best scripter, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to attract the best people. You don't have to be attracted to them. As long as you're good at what you do and you back yourself to do that, and you get on well, that's the most important thing, right? If you get on well, you gel well as a team, then it doesn't matter about how good you
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
about being the best. You're going to have a good game, right? So it's about finding the people you get on well with. And I think that's something that you don't want to overlook. Just because you found someone and on the dev forum, let's say, and you might not know them very well, but they've got a great portfolio, and they're one of the best builders or modelers or UI designers, doesn't mean that you're going to have the best team.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just kind of sound out people and find out who you work best with. Don't just, you know, rush into things with people. Try to develop, you know, relationships with them, like just a
Yeah.
friendship, and just get to know them before you go into working with
Yeah.
them. Because that's what I did, like with my map designer. I was just, friends with them for a while.
Yeah.
We just
It's best to
spoke
have a
quite regularly.
relationship.
It wasn't that I got in touch with him just because I wanted a map builder. It's just that, I learned that I
Yeah.
suddenly learned one day that he's trying to, get out there and get noticed. So, you know, there are a lot of hidden gems on the forum. There's a lot of people who have great skills or are learning and still
Yeah.
have great skills that are willing to
Yeah.
just to have a team, just to join a team, just because they're going to get experience, you're going to get experience,
Yeah.
and your development partnership can really blossom. So, it's more about just finding the best team and working together rather than finding the best experienced people, because you can grow your skills whilst working together. You don't have to be the best to become a team.
Yeah. No, that is. I can't agree. I can't even agree more on that. That I think you've just put it completely set right there. I think that's fantastic, and I think
That is a mirror
yeah,
of some of our projects we've had in the past
yeah.
and present. So
And I think it's great. I think on both sides, whether you're a builder, whatever you do, I think joining a team will always help, and I think it'll always give you insight to the larger world around you. What the saying of standing on the shoulders of giants. Hopping on any team at all could just skyrocket you to learning so much knowledge you've never really necessarily known before in your life. And I think that really gives people an insight when it comes to actually moving forward and working with other people that they want to work in future, and how it all works necessarily. And I also just want to say, just to pretty much anyone out there, pay your scripters. That's all I can say. Pay them, okay? I think there's a lot of scripters that actually work way too hard. I mean, it's fine if you're making a game with a friend, and you know what? If it's just all for fun, that's great. That's all good. But if you guys are actually running a serious business out there, pay your scripters, please. They work way too hard.
This is the thing, right? People will want to work with me, and people will DM me and asking if I can help script their game.
Yeah.
But 5 years ago, they wouldn't have, because I've not got
Yeah,
the
exactly.
notoriety, or I'm not as well known as I was back then. Obviously, I didn't know as much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back then how to script. I wasn't the scripter that I am today, but I had the work ethic to learn how. So, had you have, maybe come to me 5 years ago when no one really knew who I am and said,
could have
"Can
made
you
a
help me
game."
script a game?"
Yeah.
I probably would have said yes, and we would have worked together.
Yeah,
We
would've
would have
worked.
grown our skills. I would have helped you out.
Yeah.
So,
That would have been.
I am the same person who I was 5 years ago. It's just that I can script a bit better now. So it's not like anyone else who's new to scripting can't go on that path as well and
Yeah.
progress as well.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of ways people can branch out and expose themselves, of course, to somehow gain this attention, to try lead themselves to where they want to be. Of course, it all matters in terms of marketing, it all in terms of, and all these other things. But I think one of the biggest things, in terms of the key to success, is to just inspire people. I know you've inspired countless people. You've even inspired me, even though I can't script to save my life. So, but I think that is one of the key components that it takes. If you want to get somewhere in life, and you need to have a message behind you, you need to have a sort of, an idea in your head on what you want to promote and what you want to go forward with. And I think, inspiring people is all that it takes, essentially. And if you can inspire people and if you can help people, I think it really does go a long way. And I think you yourself and your whole channel, I think, embodies that. I think you've helped countless people, and I think people can't be thankful enough. And I think you've done a lot of work. So, yeah,
A lot of community work,
I think a lot
so
of people can learn that lesson as well. Otherwise, yeah, all right. I actually want to move on to another question. What are your thoughts on, there's actually a new interesting update that Roblox is rolling out soon, eventually, inevitably. They are going to be moving towards 3D clothing for characters to wear. What are your actual thoughts on that, and how people are going to implement that into games or the catalog, and what do you think about Roblox clothing designers at the moment? Are they going to be removed completely, or I don't know. What's your thoughts? I just want to ask that.
Yeah, so with the whole new 3D like layered clothing
Yeah.
update, it's another thing that I didn't really pay attention to at first,
No.
but now I kind of see the benefits of it. I
Yeah.
kind of see why they're doing this, and it kind of goes back to the whole Arthro thing where like everyone's like, we don't want this, we don't want this. It's ruining Roblox. But
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of people designing, this new type of clothing, and it looks very, very good. Like you're
Yeah.
gonna have a
Yeah.
lot of, it's like going back to the skies. Sure, you can have your skyboxes, you can have your classic looking Roblox games, but some of us also want to push the boundaries of Roblox. We want to be seen as a proper, up there with
Yeah.
the great
Yeah.
game engines. We want to be professionally seen as a game engine that's serious, right?
Yeah.
And you can make things like medieval clothing and knights. You could have knights wearing layers of different
Yeah.
clothing.
Yeah.
I know we've got at the minute clothing designers, and you're kind of limited, to be honest. It's a bit like the UGC textures as well. They've got to be like a certain resolution and things. And
that is a limit.
yeah, so I think it's good in a way. I know people are going to be opposed to it, like with every new Roblox update.
That's true. Yeah.
I think the key to it is giving people a choice, right? Let's let people, stay as it is. Let's let them have their current clothing. But there's countless problems with the clothing industry as it is. I don't want to get into that, and no,
Yeah.
there's no disrespect to the clothing creators, because
Yeah.
I greatly admire them. It's more of a problem with Roblox,
Yeah, I can agree with that.
with the whole copying clothing thing.
Oh, yeah,
But
that's been going on
we're
for
definitely
decades.
moving into a new era where developing games on Roblox is not the only thing that you can be successful
Yeah.
from.
Yeah.
And I think we're moving into that slowly with UGC, obviously, as there's more and more creators. But I think layered clothing, 3D clothing, is going to bring this to the next level, because not only are we going to have clothing designers, but we're going to have in-house proper clothing designers working for studios, developing layered clothing for the biggest,
Yeah.
the biggest
Companies
game
and games. Yeah.
devs and companies that move into Roblox.
Yeah.
Especially as, you like I said, if you had a medieval game, there's going to be countless
Oh,
different,
that's gonna be awesome. Yeah.
outfits that you're going to need doing. And you're not going to be limited to just having one clothing template. You're going to be able to have,
There is an
you know,
argument to the story though, because
Really?
there has been games where you've made morphs. Morphs have been around for a long time. I'm sure you know in the scripting world, morphs, and you can make a morph which is technically the same as Arthro. The only difference is that Roblox at that time didn't really support it. It was just you made a rig which they allowed you to do with all the joints and that, so you can do that, and then you just make it. This countless games.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of it. it's like Shard Seekers or whatever the game is called, and they had their custom morphs, and you can customize the characters. And of course, it was very very low key. It wasn't very sophisticated, but the potential
Yeah.
to create proper meshed clothing for it was there. I mean, it probably wasn't there at the time it began because mesh deformation wasn't around. But now, more than ever, it could potentially do that. But if we remove Arthro, the capability of a game person making that from scratch is there. I feel that Roblox are pushing for it very hard now, and I think they've made their point very clear. They want Arthro.
Well, a
It's
lot of
coming
people are
no matter
worrying.
what.
Well, a lot of people are worrying because of how poorly Arthro is implemented. So, you know, it's quite a debacle. You know, it's like, what, you know, you know what? Actually, no, I'm wrong, because maybe Arthro. I mean, maybe this 3D clothing will solve the issue to Arthro, because people complain that Arthro isn't customizable.
True.
So if they actually make a character where you could just put on clothing on and stuff like that, I think it'll be sorted. So. End of conversation.
Don't forget that although we've got Arthro on the way and these new character types already, you know, arriving on Roblox,
Yeah.
it is still up to the developer in a lot of cases, and that we've had, you know, non-Roblox character. I say non-Roblox, but non-blocky type characters
Yeah.
way before Arthro came out. You know, because it's up to the developer. There's been countless games where Roblox characters aren't the main
Yeah.
you know, character in a game. You know, you got custom humanoids and custom character designs. I can't give you an example, but you get the idea, right? If say you're being an animal in a game, right? Or you're being there's games where you look more like a human than a Roblox character. It's been down to the developers for a long time. I think the whole Arthro thing is just kind of giving developers more choice and kind of making it easier for developers without them having to code custom characters themselves, which, you know, can be quite difficult, especially, you know, if you have a mesh.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you can have a mesh, sure, but how do you like animate it and how do you make it realistic? So I think it's kind of just giving more power to those developers.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you in that we want to keep those who want old Roblox. There's always going to be people who want old Roblox, you know, whatever Roblox do, and we can have the argument in the discussions over whether it was better back then or whatever. But there's always going to be people who want to keep the classic Roblox avatar, and I think we should keep that, but we should give the developers a choice. You know, whether do they want their game to be more of like a Roblox experience in that you're letting people have the classic Roblox avatars, or do you want it to be more of a realistic
Are
game?
you talking about my tweet? I actually made a tweet. I don't know if you read it. No.
I haven't seen it, no.
No.
Pure coincidence.
You're making me think about the tweet that I posted. I said it would be wild if Roblox actually made a separate platform where they just threw all their old Roblox stuff and junk. They just threw it all there and then just let it stay there. And whoever people who want old Roblox can stay there, and whatever changes. You know what I'm saying? So I was just thinking that was quite an interesting idea. But then
I did play actually a game, from 2012 that I used to play all the time. Very, very old game, and I was thinking, oh wow, I haven't played this in ages. Like, it's so old that I have the VIP T-shirt. Right, there's no Game Pass or anything. It's a VIP shirt. Still got it in my inventory. And I tried it, and I'm like, I wonder if this will still work. And it did. It still worked.
No, you could still do it today.
The one thing that kind of didn't work was the cars because of the physics, but everything else in the game, flawless. So I think Roblox, they want to keep that. They want to keep like the classic games as much as they can, but they've also got to move forward as well.
But they completely ruined cars completely. They destroyed the whole car system. Like, they completely obliterated it. Some old, like, you'll find old Roblox cars just don't work anymore. They added some new side, like, top view camera thing that views down on you, like Fortnite, when you drive a car, and then they changed the speedometer, and it was a disaster. And I don't.
We have got games emerging though, which do try to emulate old Roblox. I think it's called Roblox Studio or something. I saw a video the other week.
Oh yeah, you're a part of a group called Retro Studio.
Retro Studio, that's it. Yeah. It's basically you ought to try it out. You can go back. Someone has coded in a Roblox game, Roblox Studio, the old Roblox Studio from 2009 up until 2015. It must have took them absolutely ages.
Yeah, that must have been taking a long time.
It's exactly like how it used to be. If you would not think, okay, sure, it's part of a Roblox game. You have to actually
Yeah.
go into
Yeah.
the game to use it, but it's so
Yeah.
amazing. If you're listening to this podcast, you've got to try it out. It's called Retro Studio.
Yeah.
It's a Roblox game. It's a bit like, I think Clone Trooper 1019 made something similar,
Super
but for old
Nostalgia Zone.
Roblox games.
Yeah, he made
That's
Super
it. Yeah, it's
Nostalgia
basically
Zone. Yeah.
Super Nostalgia Zone, but for Roblox Studio. It's incredible. Go
Oh,
and check
that's
it out.
insane.
Honestly,
Yeah. Well, guys, check that out, please. Yeah. I.
it's probably it's probably worth an entire episode with the developer just
Yeah.
working out how they did that.
Yeah.
There's got to have been so many things to work out to make that work.
Yeah.
It's a feat of Roblox engineering.
Well, we actually have an idea. I won't exactly spoil it, but we are thinking about a future series on this channel about. But all I could say is that it's just going to feature old Roblox, and that's it. That's all I can really disclose right now. But yeah, I saw in the super. I mean, I saw Retro Studios on Twitter and all that type of stuff, and I saw the stuff that they're working on, and it's quite interesting. I never really thought, that a group of people would. I know that there's a lot of people who are passionate about old Roblox, but I never thought I'd ever see people go so far, just to actually, preserve so much in the past. Like, I didn't actually think this group of people actually existed. I thought people just gave up at that point, and people who just like old Roblox have kind of just given up and moved away from the platform. But, little did I know, there's people that are actually still holding on to this day, so I was quite fascinated about that. And yeah, I think that's great. What are your thoughts about Roblox moving to China? There's a lot of interesting things about that. Because now they're doing RDC in China. They actually announced that, and I was like, what? I was like, whoa! That's insane already.
I heard about that.
They must have a lot of developers in China already. That must be wild.
I've not really kept up on it too much in terms of recent weeks and how they're rolling it out, but I know that they're trying to definitely get into China, and I think RDC China is a good step into bringing on Chinese developers and expanding it, because aside from Roblox development, there's also some it's teaching kids how to code. Like, at the end of the day, even if you don't want to become a Roblox developer, you're learning great skills. Even if I didn't want to become a Roblox developer, I've learned how to code, and I've learned the basics of pretty much any coding language, because I know what variables are, what functions are, etc. So yeah, the more people you can get into coding wherever they are in the globe, the better. I mean, I don't really know how Roblox China does work in terms of the games and the development side. I assume it's pretty similar, but the China rollouts is going to be. It's going to open up a massive audience to Roblox, and hopefully it can be very supportive and a big step in terms of Roblox's international growth.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I don't think there's much to necessarily say on that. I was just I'm interested. Yeah, you are. Yeah, I'm fascinated. You are well read up on that. That's fantastic. I was like, because I was just thinking, a lot of people aren't necessarily paying attention to this. Because I think this is an absolutely huge opportunity. I think the platform might even triple in size as a result. Because, the population of China is just massive. So so I think we're going to see a lot more newer players coming to the platform. And, all right. Okay, just to, now that's out of the way. I think those are most of all the general questions that I've wanted to ask you. Here's a little bit of some shorter questions as we phase out to the end of this podcast. I just, these are just shorter questions that we're going to ask you. You could literally just answer yes or no. Or you could elaborate a little bit more. But do you invest in Roblox stocks?
At the minute, not currently. Not currently myself.
Well, welcome to the club.
I do have a definite. I do have an interest in Roblox stocks. I do watch them closely, and I do hope to in the future once I'm old enough. Because I'm currently under 18, not for much longer though, so I definitely will. Yeah.
No.
But I definitely will be. They haven't taken off too much yet, so I think I've still got a chance of getting in there sometime soon.
It's only a year
That's
later.
good. Just hope the price stays down.
Yeah.
Thankfully I'm 19, so I can do it if I want.
Yeah, but
my bank account.
you see, me and Unix are very
Dev would
cautious.
go mad.
Dev
would go mad.
We'll invest. but we're very cautious. Of course, we're not stock
Uh,
experts, but we are we are very cautious
well,
on
we
stocks.
know how the stocks works,
Yeah.
but we just don't have the knowledge to really.
Mm.
We
I think
understand it.
Roblox have been teaching us very well with their limiteds and trading
Oh
system
wow.
and the Robux
Wow.
statistics stock market. I think they've been teaching us over the years, getting us ready
But you know what?
to invest.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, but I think also at the
That
same
is
time,
true.
was one thing I talked about. I think it was in a podcast. I can't exactly remember, but I said you can, if for example on Roblox, if a limited goes down in pricing, and eventually lowers to the point in which it's not limited anymore, that's fine. But you don't have a loss at all, except for just you can't sell it. But if your company dips in real life, you lose actual money. You have like an actual loss. So you actually you actually have to
It's
pull
true and
out. And
false.
if you don't pull
It's
out, you'll
true or
probably
false.
be in debt. Like you'll be insane amounts of money that you're gonna have to owe. I think we can all learn about that
Mm,
with what happened with the stock situation with GameStop. Of course, when a bunch of people just hyperinflated this this dying how do I say this? It was a dying stock, and then people who are betting on it to lose essentially just lost so much money. I wonder if you could actually do that
that's
with
if it
limiteds.
crashes.
Can you do
That's
that
if
with
it
limiteds?
crashes.
Yeah.
But I doubt a limited is ever going to crash because it just doesn't happen. It
Well, I
doesn't
mean,
disappear.
it's in a very controlled environment. I don't think it's
Well,
like I think it's very hard
yes.
for. I think it'll stop at a certain price, but I don't think Roblox will allow it to go down after it
No,
hits
it
that
doesn't
rock
stop at a
bottom.
certain
Until
price.
yeah, on that set price
I
that they
think
made
you
it.
can set a limited. If you own one limited, that's the only limited out there. You could set it to 9 million,
Yeah, yeah.
99.9 million. I think it is. I don't know. I think it's that. That's how much money you can set it. And if
Hmm.
someone buys that, then
All
you
right.
got that money.
Yeah. All
It
right.
doesn't crash. You
Yeah.
control the market. But
Yeah. Well,
stocks and shares is another story.
that solves the whole stocks question, of course. Okay, that's interesting. Um. Do you actually? There's one other. Do you actually have any favorite Roblox games or developers in particular? Uh, Alvin.